Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The Western media, which is the free media, because free media of free countries and free people, starts telling us things that we already knew, but they're slow to acknowledge, or at least to promote, or even to inform the baboons. And that is, the Russians are advancing in the east very fast. I have here an article from CNN. Why do I use CNN? Because they ask a question, or at least they make some statements that are or were obvious for some of us, and it was not trumpeted in the free media. It was trumpeted in the in the not free media and things like this. And that is, Russia is capturing its biggest swath of territory since July 2022, as Kiev desperately awaits US weaponry. We're going to talk about if Kiev really can do anything with the US weaponry or not. This has been true for some time, but nevertheless, down here in the article, we see the fall of Avdiivka. Now, the fall of Avdiivka seems to be one of the, the needle or whatever that broke the camel's back. Is that how it goes? Remember when the Russians conquered, liberated, however, took control of Mariupol? That was in 2022, in May 2022. They took over Mariupol. The Ukrainians / NATO fought for it like crazy. What did they say? During the fights, they said, the free mass media, they said that if Mariupol falls, the Russians will take the entire Donetsk Oblast. So we have to defend Mariupol. After Mariupol fell, what did the media say? Not a big deal. It's just a symbolic win. Okay. Then the Russians attacked Soledar, if you remember Soledar. Again, nothing important about Soledar. The Russians just want to capture it for symbolic reasons. After it fell, because they defended it like crazy, after it fell, they said, well, no big deal. And then after a while, they said, actually, it was important. Then it was Bakhmut. The Ukrainians / NATO defended Bakhmut like crazy inside the city, as they did in Mariupol as well, or in Soledar and in Soledar. And then again, we have to defend this. If we don't defend this and the Russians break through Bakhmut, they're going to go straight to Kiev. We have to defend it. Well, the Wagnerites, with the Russians, conquered it, liberated, destroyed it. What did the media say? No big deal. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a symbolic win for the Russians. They can have it. Then the Russians won in Avdiivka. The same thing as in Mariupol, Soledar, Bakhmut. They fought strong, hard, and they lost. After they lost, like the sour grapes, actually they're not good at all. It's just a symbolic win. But after a while, they have to tell the truth in order to justify something else. So we have this article, obviously, where they tell us that the fall of Avdiivka allows the Russians to capture its biggest swath of territory. Now, they also say that Kiev desperately awaits US weaponry. I do not think that the problem on the NATO or Ukrainian side is the weaponry, the amount. I think it is the manpower at this point. Why? It seems like the Russians killed too many Ukrainians, let's put it this way, and the Ukrainians desperately tried to get their Ukrainians who don't want to fight for Ukraine from abroad. And not only, they are trying to squeeze the unfit men, unfit for duty, for military duty, from their country. So it seems to me that it's not necessary doesn't mean that it doesn't play a role, but the main thing is the manpower. You can have a weapon around, but you don't have someone to use it, the weapon will mean zero. It's a potential in the future. It's not because you don't have the manpower. So from unimportant, just no strategic importance, to a how do you call it, and a symbolic win from the Russians. Now the first is used right here. Avdiivka. Avdiivka has been on the front line since 2014, when pro-Moscow separatists seized large portions of the Donbas region, including the nearby city of Donetsk. What happened before this happened? They don't tell us. They start a history not in a chronologic of an issue. They don't start in a chronology. They start only when she started slapping and scratching the rapist. They don't start with, hey, who approached who? Oh, that guy approached her. That guy grabbed her. That guy did this to her. And then she scratched him. Ah, see? She scratched him. They started from there. That's a lot of other piece of information that could help us determine who is who and what is what in Ukraine. If you go, not only, you don't have to go to 1991, exactly, 1991. You don't have to go to 1994. You don't have to go to 2013. You go to 2014, it's enough. Or you can go to 2008, when the Americans said, oh, one day Georgia and Ukraine will join NATO. And Putin was like, what? What are you talking about? All right. Remember, Ukraine was supposed to be, according to 1994 Budapest Memorandum, signed by the Americans as well, that Ukraine will be neutral. How come in 2008 Ukraine would join an organization that was built and maintained as a counter to Russia, an adversary, an enemy? Russia was the enemy. Why was Russia an enemy? Remember, Putin asked not only Bill Clinton, hey, what do you think about Russia joining NATO? And he said, no. And Clinton's brain was like, but NATO is formed because of you. You are our boogeyman. That's why we are around. And we will evolve not only to be a defensive organization, but we're going to be an offensive organization. Remember, Yugoslavia, Serbia, Montenegro did not attack NATO. NATO attacked Yugoslavia. So, and not only, Libya did not attack NATO. Iraq did not attack NATO. Afghanistan did not attack NATO. It attacked certain entities, but nevertheless. So here you have, starting the chronology of events, in 2014, only then Avdiivka was important. When these guys seized it, so there you have it. You got the perpetrators, which are the, they call them Moscow, pro-Moscow separatists. Not Russian separatists, not Ukrainians, Russian-speaking Ukrainians. No. It was pro-Moscow, because Moscow uses KGB and others. 2 years after February 17, 2024, when they withdrew from the area. So they had small gains. It's true. It is true. And this is they show you a little chronology here. February 16, how it was, Avdiivka fell, and then from February 16 to right here, April 29th, Avdiivka is left in the dust. From there to there. There you have it. So it seems like the Russians are in an offensive, and these guys finally, not finally, because they kept saying that the Russians tried to push it, but the reason why, as I said, is not necessarily the weapons, unless you have NATO troops using those weapons, which I think they already do. And I'm 99% convinced, I don't know, I have a gut feeling that NATO troops, NATO personnel uses the HIMARS missile systems, not the Ukrainians. The same is with Patriot. The same could be with Abrams tanks, with Leopard 2 and Challenger tanks. I don't think these guys gave the Ukrainians their most advanced weapons. I don't think. I'm 100% certain they will not give. Why? Remember when the Americans said that they will position air defense systems in Romania and Poland, and Putin said, no, you move your installation closer to us. That's for us. And these guys said, no, it's for the Iranians. When the Iranians shoot towards Europe, Okay, scenarios. I can give you scenarios. But anyway, like they talk like with the baboons. Putin is not a baboon. But anyway, and I said it's against us. Putin said, yeah, no, it's not against you. Nevertheless, you tell me if the Polish military, even and the Romanian military, were allowed to even look at the American installations deployed on their territory, on Poland's territory, Romanian territory, and Romania and Poland were part of NATO. We were allies. Remember, we are together. We have the same power, voting, unanimity. You think these guys will give those guys to operate Patriot systems? Are you crazy? So that should be just a disqualifier right there. So little by little, the Russians, unfortunately, maybe I don't know, maybe it's fortunate because maybe the Russians will give a better alternative to Ukraine. I'm sorry to say that, than NATO would give. We'll see. Remember this little map here? It's not only Avdiivka, Donetsk area. It is also here in Kharkiv Oblast, Kharkov Oblast, however we want to call it, Russian or Ukrainian. And this is another place where the Russians are advancing not so fast, but they are. Again, not a weapon problem, necessarily man problem. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.